score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it still is crashing. In this case it says S is not defined. So where is S not defined? It says line 41. So come on down here to line 41. Sure enough, it's not. Do Control V and we'll run it again. Score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it crashed because of something else. Non-type and int. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Total equals none. So line 31, score total divided by length totals. Let's see what happens. So that's line 41. So it's kind of lost about that, isn't it? So it's saying that the error is right here. So what if I put parentheses around that? Let's see how that works. See if that will solve it. And if that doesn't solve it, there's another way. Oh, there it is. We got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's still giving us a crash. It definitely does not like that. So it looks like it's not going to allow me to actually do a function on the fly like that. As I recall, Python doesn't like that. That's true. So I will say value is going to be equal to all of this. Command X, Command V, and try value. And let's try that out and see how it does. Enter score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's still crashing. It says unsupported operand types for a /. That should, I would think that that would be a divide. Well, let's see what I'm doing wrong here. Okay, so I'm still crashing and burning. Here's what I've done so far though to troubleshoot this, all right? What I did was, remember I had length down here in the denominator, and I had total scores S in the numerator, okay? So I thought, well, if I'm having problems obviously in this section, then what I need to do is break out those two variables and see what they really are. So here is length S. I stored it in a variable called L. Here's print L so that I can see what's actually happening. Here is total scores S is going to be stored into a variable T, and then I printed T to see what was happening. Okay, now when I run it, I see back here that total is equal to none. Okay, so that's not good, is it? So we come back over here and we find that total didn't work, which means that our little scores total thing right here, this is where we have our problem. And the reason that we have a problem is because we forgot to do a return on total. So we come in here, return total, like so, and let's try it and see if it works this time. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there, we finally received our numbers. So now I'm going to go back to where I was before, right? And that is, I just simply returned this. I'll just Control exit, Control V, and I'll go over here. If I can get the tooltip to quit. Control X, replace this to here, Control V, and go up here. Now I've had trouble with Python not being willing to return stuff as well. Now I'm getting an error here. Can't assign to operator. All right. So what if I do this? Will it allow me to do that? It will not allow me to do that. So Python just flat does not like it when I do these, separate things out like I am. So we have to live with the fact that we're going to have to do it this way, right? Whoops. T is equal to, what did we decide T is? The total's got to be equal to scores total, right? It helps working on drugs. It gives you guys a chance to see what a person's got to do to troubleshoot this stuff. So I totally deleted the wrong line there. So what am I doing in my score average? The first thing I'm going to do is get the length, right, of the list. And we need to use a pound symbol for that. Once I get the length of the list, I would like to have the actual total score. Okay? Once I get the total score, I'm ready to, and in this case I'll just call it A for average. I will calculate average. There we go. And then finally I'm going to return average. Get rid of that line of code. Finally, we can get that to work, right? So the next little piece of code that I'm going to show you, it still crashed. So where did I make my mistake? I thought I typed in the letter A there, and obviously I did not. So we'll try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there it is. It worked fine. Okay, we've got our list. There's a total. There's the average. What about the maximum value? Let's say that I want to find the maximum value that's in there. This is also a very common thing for people to do. So I'll go print. Remember, we're using the top-down approach here, right? Maximum equals, do a space, do a comma, and I'll just say scores max. And it's giving me an error, of course, right? It's giving me an error, except for I need to pass in my scores. But it's still going to give me an error because scores max doesn't exist yet. So let's make it happen, right? So there's the scores average. Oh, I see why that didn't do what it did. All right. Come down here. Define function. There's score max s. All right, this one's a pretty easy one to do. Okay, what we do is we start out by grabbing a hold of the first score in the array. That's no big deal, right? So I'll just say max. Oh, looks like we've got a that's a keyword, so we'll use m for max. All right, max is equal to s sub 0. We don't even care what s sub 0 is. It could be the minimum number, it could be the maximum number. We really don't care what it is. What we're going to do is an if else. And the if is going to make a cool little test for us, okay? And that test is if oh, come on, be nice to me. If kidneys are kicking it up right now big time. S sub 0 is less than S sub 1, what do you suppose I want to do? I want to change it, right? I want max now to be equal to S sub 1. Does that make sense to you guys? Because if S sub 0 is less than S sub 1, that means that S sub 1 has to be bigger than S sub 0, and therefore I want that to be my new maximum number. So that's what we do. The thing is, though, is I only checked 2 of these cells, right? So what I need to do is go through and check them all out. So we type in for I in S. Okay, so we're bringing, there's my list. I'm going to peel off one of those values off of my list. And now I don't need to do the S, 0S, this kind of a deal anymore. What I can do is I can say if if M is less than I, then M is equal to I. Because remember, I is the value of my array. So it's going to, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 the first time through, it's going to be, well, this is going to work out really well. Okay, so we start out m equals s of 0. And if this is my array, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that means that m right now is equal to 1. For I in S, okay? Well, I'm looking at my list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first number that comes up, again, is the number 1. So is 1 less than 1? No, it's not, okay? So the next number that comes up is the number 2. 2 gets stuffed into I, right? Is m1 less than 2? It is. So we're going to go ahead and make m equal to 2. And it's going to keep doing this until it makes its way through the entire array. All right? So now what we'll do is we'll do a return. Return m for the maximum score. Okay? And then finally, the last aggregate function, because that's what these are all called, is the minimum. DEF SCORE MIN S, and literally it's going to be the same deal, except that the greater than symbol points in the other direction. If m is greater than I, then we want to make it equal. So now we've figured out what the max score is, wrote a little routine for that. We've written a little routine for the minimum score. Return is outside of the function. How can this be? Let's do this. Delete. Hit enter, and we'll go back one. Now it's not outside of the function. We'll get rid of that line too, since we're returning right away, right? Okay, so we're good to go. Let's try this out. Print, Command V, and this time it's going to be min is min, right? Score is min. I'm getting an error here. Is that because I came up with a different, because I didn't use an S. There we go. All right, so why are we getting errors now? Because we forgot to use our little colon, right? Grab that, and of course that means we forgot it up here too. Nope. So colon is expected. Yes, absolutely. So we're going to go ahead and put our colon there. You got to say thank you very much, IDE, for helping me do this, right? So this goes back to here to make sure that our indentation is correct. For I, get rid of that, or get that taken care of. And there we are. So those little red squigglies have basically saved our bacon when it comes to actually putting all of this together. Okay? So, there you have it. Let's see what happens when we run this thing. Alright, the score, I'm going to do 5 scores, and this time I'm going to do 78, 92, 45, 67, and 98. Actually, I'll go 94. That's still bigger than 92, isn't it? So I'll go 90. Because I want it to be kind of in the middle. So let's see what it gives me. Comes back and it says, out of those scores, the total was 372, that the average for the class was 74.4, that the maximum score was 92, and the minimum score was 45. These things that you see here, as I said, are all called aggregate functions. All right? So that's the one-dimensional array. And as you can see, you can do all kinds of cool things with the one-dimensional array. And as I recall, we tinkered a little bit with that by accident when we peeled off the individual characters of a string when we were talking about loops. Okay? So there you are. The next subject that we're going to talk about is multidimensional arrays.